Okay, here we are, and we're going to do a demo for, right now we're going to do a series of demo, but right now we're doing it for DHCP. And what we've got is our little virtual network on our computer. We've got the server, it's a 2008 R2, then we've got some Windows 7 machines, and then we've got some Windows 8 machines. We've got a Linux machine down here, but we don't do anything with him since we don't know how he works yet. But what we're going to do is, right now we have this Windows 7 machine statically configured with the IP address of .77, and same with the Windows 8 is a .88. And we're going to, right now on our server, we have these services. We have DHCP, DNS, and file services. What we're going to do is we're going to just get rid of each of the services and then start them up from scratch so we can go through the startup process and see how that works on the 2008 server and just verify that it works. And so for this one we're going to have the how to put DHCP on the server, and then there'll be a part 2 that kind of just demonstrates the different ways that DHCP works and sometimes doesn't work and causes some difficulties, and then the maybe a third part that just explains a little bit of how we do this in the virtual network environment, since there isn't anything physically there, but it still works. So we'll be back in a second to show you the how we process the server here. Okay, this is for the DHCP server demonstration again, and here's where we're just adding it on. And this, we're looking at the Windows 7 machine, and this is Windows 7-3. It's on the helping up local domain. And right down here we can see DHCP enabled, no it's not. And then below it we can see the static address is .77. Now if we go down here, we can ping the Windows 8 machine. That's at address 10.0.0.88, and we can see that comes through. And then we're going to ping the server, which will be at address 1, and that's a static address, and that'll stay static throughout. And if we go over to the Windows 8 machine, we can take a look at its IP configuration, and it's Windows 8.1. It's on the helping up local domain. DHCP enabled, no, and its static address is 0.88. So if we go through and we ping the Windows 7 machine, that comes through, and then if we ping the server, and the address is 1, and that comes through. So we'll go to our server, and down here is the icon for the server manager, and what we can go in there, and that'll bring up all the different roles that we have for this server. And it's collecting data right now. It takes a few seconds, and all these things in the virtual mode is going to take long because we have 3 machines plus the host machine opened up here, so it does tax the RAM quite a bit. It's not that hot of a machine. But down here it says, what do we have? It says what roles we have, and never mind the caution or the warning things. It says we've got the DHCP server, the DNS server, and the file services. And those are the things that we want to demonstrate. So the first thing we're going to do is DHCP server, and we're going to remove that role right now. And this just whatever, and we're going to go to next. We're going to take DHCP off, and we're going to remove that. So we're going to remove it, and this takes a while to perform. We'll let it start off, and if it takes too long we'll just come back and take a look at it and just verify that its role is gone. And then okay, now here we are, and we've just finished, and here's well, and after you do any of these things you always have to reboot the computer, so that did take some time. But we come back and it says removal results. The DHC server was removed, so we're going to close that out. And now we just have our DNS and file server. So now what we need to do, we need to go over here. We need to add the roles. And it's kind of the process in reverse. So we're going to put in the DHCP server. And it goes into the server wizard. And this is going to be our server address. This is the 10001. And we're on the Helping Up local. And this is going to be our preferred DNS server. And we can validate the address, and it says it's valid. And we'll go next. We're not going to use wins. Now here is where we put in the scope. And we're going to call our scope, we'll call it home1 for our first network. And we'll give it addresses of 10.0.0.1. And because our network's really small, we'll just put 0.20. Okay, here we are, and we've just added in the default gateway, which is going to be our server again, and we'll put that in. And we're done with that, so we can go to next. We are not going to, well, we can leave that at that. That's V6, we don't really care about that. And this is more V6. And as for our administrator, I guess we want to use our administrator password. And this is confirmation, so it says that's our server. The scope is going to be from 1 to 20, and our default gateway is going to be number 1, which is also our server. And it's going to say OK, so let's install that. And again, this is going to take a little bit of time. So when we get back with the results, then we'll show those. Okay, and here we have it. It says that installation was successful, so we're going to close that. And now we see our DHCP is up here. We're going to take a look at him, our DHCP, and we can go in and we're in Helping Up, and we're looking at the V4. So our scope says hum1, and let's take a better look at this. So our address pool is 1 to 20, that's correct. The leases we don't have. Reservations. Now scope options, this is where we can reserve ones for certain things. And we want the router is going to be our server, and also DNS is going to be that. And the domain name is going to be Helping Up. So I think we're pretty good. We should be up and running. And we should be able to learn that also from our server manager. If we just go to the bottom here on our server manager, if it comes up, it should tell us that it's up and running. And again, we're taking a little time to collect the roles. And if we go to the DHCP server, okay, it says systems are all running, so that's good. Now if we now if we go to our Windows 8 machine, what we want to do is we want to connect into our server and change it so we're running off DHCP. And I guess we were way so long it logged us out. And what we'll do is we'll go into our Open Network and Sharing Center, and that's really important for all your IP addresses. Now here we're going to look at our adapters. We're not in the Bluetooth, we want to look at our Ethernet, and we want to go to Properties, and we have to put in our administrator password. And this should get us into the properties. And now what we want to do is we want to change the V4 properties. And now instead of okay, and so automatically doing the IP address, so we're in DHCP, and we say OK and close that. And now what we can do is, well, there's two things. One, we can go back to our network sharing, and we can go in here and just tab on this, and we can go into details. And now this detail says this is what our address is, so it's within the scope. And because our server has address 0.1, we have 0.2, or the first other address. So we did make that change with DHCP. Now if we go back to our command prompt and we do our IP config, and we got to do /all. Now if we look at this, it will say, is DHCP enabled? Yes. And then below it is what our address is. And then we have our default gateway, our DHCP server address, which is also going to be our server. So our server is going to do a lot of things. Now let's do the same thing with our Windows 7 machine. And what we need to do is we need to go into our control panel. Come on. And then we'll go into network and internet. And this is where our network and sharing center is. And we'll do the same thing, look at adapters, and we want this adapter. We'll go and check properties. And have to put in our password. And here we go. Okay, our administrative password. Okay, and we'll do the same thing. We'll just go in our configuration, and we want the v4 properties, and we're going to do that automatically, do this automatically. Okay, close it out, and hopefully it'll respond here. Again, the network runs really slow compared to an actual PC because you're on the virtual system, so it takes it a little bit longer to do everything. So we'll go up here, close that out, and now we're back here. Take a look at our IP config and /all so we can see all the parameters. And if we go up a little bit, so say that yes, DHCP is enabled, and now we have address 10.0.0.3. So again, what happens is it does the first addresses that are open, it gives out as you ask for them. So the next address when we turn on a computer will be address 4 and 5 and so on. And we'll go into a little more detail in part 2 of this.